I'm Joe Lample. When I created Growing a Greener World, I had one goal: to tell stories of everyday people, innovators, entrepreneurs, forward-thinking leaders who are all, in ways both big and small, dedicated to organic gardening and farming, lightening our footprint, conserving vital resources, protecting natural habitats, making a tangible difference for us all. They're real, they're passionate, they're all around us. They're the game changers who are literally growing a greener world and inspiring the rest of us to do the same. Growing a Greener World, it's more than a movement, it's our mission. Today, we're at a very special place. This is where the seed for Growing a Greener World was planted. We filmed our pilot here before we ever knew we'd have a few episodes, let alone a successful series. Yet half a decade later, we're back. This is Greensgrow Farm, one of the first urban farms in America, located just 3 miles from Philadelphia's city center. We chose Greensgrow as the site of our pilot for many reasons, but mainly they, like us, have a shared vision for a greener future, yet with a realization that change takes time and happens best when you lead by example. And it's those examples that have done so much for this community and is a model for others across the country. But what makes this story really unique is in understanding how it started. This site was originally a galvanized steel plant, cleaned up by the EPA and left as a neighborhood dump when Greensgrow purchased the property 15 years ago. Today, it epitomizes the model of a successful urban farm. Yet more than that, Greensgrow has always strived to find new ways to provide access to fresh local food. It's one of the main reasons Greensgrow was created, and today they're finding new ways to mobilize those efforts, including the use of 2 farm trucks to serve the underserved in their community and beyond. When you see a typical delivery style truck like this, there's a good chance it's on its way to a store, perhaps loaded with produce, where all of that is offloaded to the store, where it's then made available for anybody to come purchase it there. But what if you don't have transportation, or you don't live near a store? Maybe it's miles away, or maybe you have physical limitations, or your schedule's so busy you just don't have time to go. Well, then what? Well, hopefully you have a mobile market like the ones that Greensgrow Farms offers, where they address all of those issues and more. Mary Seaton Corboy is the co-founder and chief idea officer at Greensgrow.
It was a way for us to hit a number of different areas in West Philadelphia and in Camden, New Jersey that were completely underserved. There's no grocery stores at all in some of these areas. And so there's a need for fresh food, but it has to be approached by somebody who's not trying to shove things down other people's throat. And Greensgrow, if nothing, has always been that. We try to go with the flow. We're not political about what we're doing. We're not standing there saying we're better because we're local. We're just saying this is an option, and it's an option that we think is going to afford you a better lifestyle. So what we can do with the mobile markets is prove that there is a desire for this product in a market, and start working with the organizations to find the kind of level of education about food. If the people in a community are food literate, then they will embrace what we're doing. And part of what you have to do is to help them to be, you have to be the bookmobile of food. And I remember as a kid in Washington, D.C., we had a supermarket in the neighborhood. That wasn't it, but we didn't have a library in the neighborhood. And when the bookmobile came to town, I mean, it was like a scene right out of a movie, like the Wells Fargo wagon is coming to town. We all grabbed our little cards and ran up there. And I wanted to get to be that way with food, where kids are running to get apples, and they always say, if kids were just given access to this stuff. And for the longest time, I didn't really believe it. I thought what kids want is Doritos. But you're talking about kids that have Doritos, that what they want is that something else. You'll never get a high. You never get a high like the high that you get from eating a really great apple. I don't think. You never get a high like you do from eating the first strawberries of the season. So, you know, we want them to get that. That sounds so corny, but I want them to get that high and to realize that, you know, it's a whole lifestyle thing. And it is out there and it's there for everybody. We just have to find the ways to bring it to everybody and to make it not literally force-fed.
Ryan Cuck is a Greensgrow farm veteran. He started as a farmer at the main location 7 years ago. Since then, he and his wife have also been working on another project called Preston's Paradise, a food push cart used to provide fresh food to their local community. That project was the catalyst for the Greensgrow mobile farm truck that Ryan now runs and operates to reach West Philadelphia communities. So I go back and forth between mobile market and farm truck, but I like the name that you came up with, Food Hub.
Well, we can't take credit for food hubs. I mean, food hubs are an institution now in American food system landscape. I mean, Greensgrow is a food hub, it's an aggregator. We were looking at to describe what we were doing. We knew there was more about just food access. It was more about just the transportation of food from one place to another, but it was about community. And so, you know, we're thinking about it as a hub, not just for where you source your products, but also where you meet other people in your neighborhood, where you have conversations about food. It's that nexus point of food culture. And so Food Hub kind of, even though it's not the most accurate name according to the USDA, it really felt like it spoke to what we were doing here.
Okay, so you got to pick a location where you're going to park your truck, and it's not just one per day. You go on the road and you hit several places in a day. How do you decide where you're going to go?
So this project is all about partnerships. So really the senior centers we go to are ones that we've either worked with for years or they approached us and said, hey, this is going to fit in really well with what we're already doing. And so those are really the key to success, because we're a small operation. We can't do all the marketing, all the promotions. And so they really do that for us, and they find their neighbors and they put the word out, and that's really what makes this work. And then we felt like, looking at what we knew we wanted to do, we needed a consistent location. We needed somewhere that people could find us every day of the week. They could say, you know, if I need a pepper, this is where I can go. And so every afternoon we come here to 37th and Lancaster and we sit for a couple hours. And it's nice because we can publish it in the food resource guides that go out to low-income individuals. So we can publish it in the newspaper. We can be a consistent presence in a neighborhood like this.
You can tweet it, social media, Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. And so that consistency has been really key. So the mornings we reserve to go to other places, and the afternoons we come here every afternoon.
Now there's quite a team involved in this, and there's a lot of work that goes on ahead of it to get the truck ready to go out every day.
Sure.
And yet, you know, as we speak, there's nobody here, but there will be. But obviously, you know, you've got those ebbs and flows. Where does this all come out on the bottom line? Are you making money with this?
We're not making money. We are making more money than we thought we would. Last year we put $36,000 back into the local food system, directly into the hands of our neighborhood farmers, and that feels really good.
The mobile markets are not money makers for us, and I think sometimes you have to do things that aren't money makers. You hope that you can, if we could get to the point where it's not a money loser, I would be very happy. The reason for being there is, you know, they need it, whether they know they need it or not. We're sort of a meter of the possibilities.
You know, we gave ourselves 3 years. We knew this wasn't going to be a flip the switch and it's going to be a profitable business. You know, you have to build community. You have to, you know, get people to trust the concept, and that's what we're working on now. And I think we have a good chance. The challenge is, when we ask people what they like best about this, it's the interactions. It's talking to our staff who come from the neighborhood, who are really knowledgeable and passionate about food and cooking and that type of food culture that we're really trying to promote. And it's really hard to skimp on that in the name of profit. And so, you know, we're really playing to two masters here of, you know, the financial sustainability, but also the type of community around food that we're really trying to build.
Now the two markets we're going to today with you, they're very different, but talk to me about the dynamics of each one. How are they so different, and how are they each benefiting?
Sure, so in the morning we go to a senior center, and the West Philadelphia Senior Community Center is really where we started. I mean, when we were a pushcart market, seniors were the people that came to us and said, hey, we want this produce, you know, come here. And so that's really our core, and that's what we view as our really like central demographic. And they're sitting there waiting on the sidewalk when we pull up, and that's just really gratifying every day, you know, to know you're really getting it to people that really want it. And then the afternoons, we come to this, again, as this consistent location. We, again, felt like it was important to have one spot where people could always find us, and we focused on a transit hub. So Lancaster Avenue is our primary commercial corridor in West Philadelphia. It's the trolley line, there's buses here, and this is the real intersection between West Philadelphia, where we live, and, you know, Drexel University, and the places that have a little bit more food security, but there's still no grocery store here. So, you know, we sell a lot to students and people that, you know, aren't maybe what you would think of as food insecure individuals, but people that really are trying to eat healthy and can't, and they really have a hard time. And so we get a lot of student traffic, which feels good to us, and we know we're serving people that need it.
So 4 or 5 days a week, Greensgrow puts a couple trucks on the road to get produce to people and places that may not otherwise have access to it. Now this is the Fresh Food Hub. That's the name of this truck, and the first order of business on Friday in front of the busy senior center is to set up, because they get a couple dozen customers that come every Friday, and they expect this to be ready for them.
My name is Kiana, and I'm a student at Temple University. I think it's important to provide healthy food for everybody. It's something that should not be a privilege. It's something that you should be born with. It's something that should be available for everybody. So I really want to be a part of that movement.
My name is Lauren. I am the market manager at the West Philly Fresh Food Hub. And the thing that excites me most about this job is my neighbors. Because our customers are not just customers, they're neighbors. I live in this community, and the people that come to our truck are the people that I live around. So talking to them, helping them learn about nutrition, learn about cooking methods, recipes, talking about different kinds of produce. We do that every single day with almost every customer.
My name is Mecca. I've been a market assistant at the Fresh Food Hub for 2 years. I live near Lancaster Avenue, and there was access to food, but really fresh, high quality, healthy food was hard to get to and hard for it to be affordable at the time. I didn't have a job that paid very well at the time, so, you know, I bought what I could, but what I really wanted was the healthy, really fresh, good food. And now I work at a place where I can give people what they want, and it feels really good.
One of the areas served by Greensgrow's mobile farm trucks is Camden, New Jersey, just a short drive away. The state of New Jersey asked Greensgrow to come to Camden to help provide fresh food to an incredibly underserved area. The farm truck was a way to bring fresh fruits and vegetables into multiple places within the city in a short period of time.
My name's Don. I'm the program manager for Greensgrow Farms Camden Neighborhood Markets Project. Greensgrow Farms is an aggregator, and what we do here in Camden is we aggregate as much local produce as possible and try and make it accessible to people in town. As many people know, Camden is a food desert, one of the worst in the nation, and we're here to try and provide people access to fresh fruit and vegetables as a necessary part of their diet.
Greensgrow's mission is to make food available at a fair price to everyone, and several young farmers are doing just that in Camden, led by Greensgrow's farm educator, Ari Roseberg. So if you want access to fresh food that's truly local, you don't have a lot of options, but this is one of them, and this is like really local, like a couple blocks away, right?
It's just on the other side of that building.
You must be Ari, the farmer.
I am, yeah.
All right, so you know I got to see it, right?
All right, that's fine. Let's go.
Let's check it out. Even within the food desert of Camden, Greensgrow has installed productive neighborhood gardens like this one, loaded with plants that will ensure access to fresh produce for much of the growing season. There are several like this, just a short walk from the curbside farm markets that serve area neighborhoods. The Fall Festival at Greensgrow Farms is one of the highlights of the year for people in this community, and they come from near and far to take in all the festivities. And it's getting bigger and better every year. but it's a great way for people to get a better flavor of urban farming, sample some farm fresh food, listen to some live music, and visit with the local vendors. Since the beginning, Greensgrow has demonstrated their commitment to sustainability in many ways. Their newest project involves adding solar panels over the busy farm stand that serves their weekly market, CSA co-op, and more. Katie Ryan is with the team providing the resources. So Katie, you're involved in what's about to happen here. There's going to be like solar over this farm stand, right?
Yes. So Green Mountain Energy and the Sun Club is going to put up a solar pavilion right here where this farm stand is.
Leave it to Greensgrow. I mean, they're always on that cutting edge of pushing the envelope.
Yes.
So tell me about that. I mean, what kind of impact does solar panels have over a relatively small space like this?
So this is going to have about 30 panels up there, and it's going to make about 10% of their electricity come from solar energy.
So 10% of everything they use is going to come from right there?
Yes. So rather than put that towards their electricity bill, they're going to put it right back into their community.
They can certainly use the money.
Yes, and so they can bring more of this community feel to people. There'll be some educational materials so people get a better understanding of how solar works. I mean, if you just look around, right? I mean, these plants and vegetables, they've got it figured out. They've been using the sun for a very long time, and we're only kind of now getting the picture.
Yeah.
And so now this is going to come right to Greensgrow and kind of paint the whole picture of sun powers your vegetables, powers your body, powers your home.
Yeah, and it's a showplace for sustainability, so it only makes sense that it happens at Greensgrow.
Yes.
Philadelphia has some of the best chefs in the country, and today Greensgrow has one of the city's finest. Chef Rich Landau, a veg restaurant, shows us how to make a simple yet delicious basil pesto over zucchini. Rich, one of my favorite things about, well, okay, two of my favorite things about festivals, the live music and great demonstrations. And as one of the top chefs around, you're going to make a great pesto for us right now. Quick and easy.
Absolutely.
Won't take much time. Let's get on it.
Okay, well, what we're going to make is a Sicilian pesto called pesto trapanese. Now, this is a little bit of a different take on the classic pesto. This uses sun gold tomatoes and cherry tomatoes and almonds in it. Oh. So, it has basil, of course, like your traditional pesto, but I find the tomatoes lighten it up. The little bit of acidity makes it sweet and bright. And this is just beautiful on pasta, on rice, risotto. But today we're going to do it on zucchini.
Okay, good, because we need more things that we can do on zucchini.
Exactly. Well, it's that time of year, your CSA box is full. You're like, what am I going to do with all this stuff? It's a perfect thing, and it's simple too. Okay. Now, here's a little trick I did first, is to toast the almonds and the garlic and the tomatoes in a pan just very lightly. You don't have to. But it's so nice if you get that extra level of flavor in there from that little bit of toasting. So there's 2 garlic cloves in there, a little handful of almonds, and the tomatoes, not to cook the tomatoes, but you can see what we did is we just made the skins blister.
Oh yeah.
Just a little bit, but that little bit of flavor brings out the sweetness. It just goes such a long way.
And you're using almonds as opposed to pine nuts.
Exactly. This is a classic Sicilian pesto. This is what they do down south.
Okay.
And it's just starting to catch on right now. And once you have this, you'll never go back to the green one. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So honestly, this takes about 2 minutes in the pan just to toast them up, and you get your garlic in there too. That brings out the sweetness.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is put that in our blender like this. So we'll get all those juices in there too. This is liquid gold, really. So the tomatoes, they burst just a little bit, and they give you all that extra little bit of flavor. Now we'll add a little bit of salt and pepper, just so we can make it taste good. I like a lot of pepper in my pesto.
Me too.
Doesn't it just make it?
Oh yeah, I like the heat.
It's a very underrated way to get heat and flavor into your pesto. Okay, and then we'll take our fresh basil here. And again, it's that time of year. This is growing everywhere, and it's so much, and the first frost is going to come, and it's going to go like that. So use it while you can. Yeah.
That's right.
So let's get this in our blender. Now, the nice part about this is you don't need a ton of basil. In classic pesto recipes, you need so much. This is like half tomato, half basil.
All right.
Okay, so a little bit of stem is okay. My golden rule with basil is when it, after it comes together like that, rip it off right about there.
Okay.
Okay, and that little bit of stem, it's got a lot of flavor to it. It's got that, classic anise, like licorice flavor on the basil, which is so nice. Mm-hmm. And then we will add our olive oil.
Okay. What's the rule of thumb for the quantity?
The rule of thumb for the olive oil is basically just enough so it processes.
Okay.
Now the nice part about this pesto is that we're going to get all that tomato juice in there, which you don't need all that extra olive oil when you're using the tomato juice. Okay, so let's see if we have enough in there to make this puppy run. We're just going to pulse it. So you just need to pulse it. Just pulse it enough to incorporate your ingredients. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's got the flecks of little tomato in there, and it just tastes so beautiful. So let's leave that on the blender base for a second.
Okay.
Let's go to work on some of this zucchini.
All right.
Now, one of the mistakes people make with zucchini is they cook it so much. It doesn't need that much time to cook. This is a beautiful summer squash. Now, winter squashes, of course, you want to really roast those in the oven. You need a commitment for that. These are very quick. Now what I look for, look how I just cut that. Do you see the little beads of water in there? That is a fresh zucchini. Look for that. Look for that in your cucumbers, in your zucchini, in your eggplant. If you see beads of water, you know you've got a really fresh vegetable.
Excellent.
If not, maybe the stock pot's a better place for that. So now I'm gonna slice this very thin. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make like a skillet casserole out of this.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna cut down these little wheels here. Now, here's the pan that I toasted those almonds and tomatoes in.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go right back in there with the raw zucchini. Okay, very simply like that. Now, I've already put salt and pepper in the pesto, but I'm gonna just put a little bit of extra seasoning on there.
Love it.
Just a little bit, just so it sinks in there. A little bit of salt and pepper. Now, we'll come back here with our pesto.
Okay.
And we're just gonna lay some of this pesto on here.
Wow.
Now I like mine nice and chunky like this, but you can make it a little bit more pureed. You just don't wanna go too long and have the basil break down too much.
Okay.
Okay, so we're just gonna spread this on here. Cover up the zucchini completely. You know, now there's olive oil in the pesto here, and so that's gonna basically help that zucchini to bake beautifully. Okay, so that's all done. I'll hand that to you, Joe. And we're just gonna put this into an oven for about 7 to 8 minutes.
Okay.
That's all we need. And Joe, if you wanna reach over there, there's one I prepared for you earlier.
Yeah.
So we can skip our baking time.
I love that.
Isn't that great? It's like a lasagna almost.
It very much looks like a lasagna. Lots of good color there. And you know, I'm honestly not a big zucchini fan, but I gotta tell you, I think I'm about to be.
Awesome.
Is it ready?
It is ready for you to enjoy. Yeah, give it a try.
I'm going for it. Now, this is going to be amazing, I can already tell that. And if you'd like to make this yourself, we're going to show you how. Now, Rich has a new cookbook out. We're going to put a link to that on our website under the show notes for this episode, the website address. It's the same as our name. It's growingagreenerworld.com. It'll be right there for you. Here we go.
You love zucchini now?
You made me a believer.
Hey, all right.
Make this. You'll love it. It's hard to believe that it's been 5 years since we were last here, but it's good to know that Greensgrow Farms and Growing a Greener World are alive and well and sharing a common message of creating a more sustainable planet. If you like what you saw today or would like to learn more, we have a lot of information on our website under the show notes for this episode. And the address, it's the same as our name. It's growingagreenerworld.com. And you know the best part is, you can watch the pilot online too that we filmed right here. I'm Joe Lample. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you back here next time for more Growing a Greener World.